Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk a bit about Candida or Candida. Depends whereabouts in the world you're watching this from. And conditions like that, yeast, overgrowth, fungus, mold. Okay, these can be really chronic issues. Mold in particular. We get mold within our homes. We have environments within our bathroom, in regards to showers, or that is a great environment for mold to be created within. And then once it gets into your body, then it can go into all sorts of areas within the body, and it creates an environment then is more compatible for that instead of your body working properly for you. But what I wanted to really do in regards to talking about these topics is these conditions can be really hard to treat on an allopathic medicine type of protocol or mainstream way of treating it, even alternative. Let's take the example of Candida or Candida and yeast problems, overwhelming yeast problems, is the fact that the first thing we do, like dietary, is to remove sugar out of the diet, right? Because that's what it feeds on, okay? Same thing with cancer, okay? On a mainstream kind of viewpoint, is that cancer, okay, feeds on sugar, okay? Now, what I'm finding is it's not only sugar, it's the fermentation process of sugar within the body. So let's look at, a lot of the times treatments involved making sure your gut health is really good. Okay, your digestive system health is really good. So this comes down to the microbiota or your flora of friendly bacteria that you farm essentially within your body. We are farmers of microbes, and and that goes on to another conversation topic about the way we look at microbes, infections, and those sorts of things, which we can touch upon within this video. But the thing with Candida is the fact, yes, it will feed off the fermentation of sugar. Now, fermented foods that increase either give the fibers for friendly bacteria to feed on, so they'll proliferate your own friendly bacteria, or adding friendly bacteria to your digestive system in the form of probiotics. So we've got prebiotics, probiotics. Okay, is all about the whole idea of making sure that the government that is your gut or digestive system, your microbiota, is in favor of the friendly bacteria compared to pathogenic bacteria, yeast, mold, fungus, and those sorts of things, parasites. Now, the whole idea of thinking that we catch something and we never have it in our system, and that we have to cleanse, so therefore we don't have any parasites, we don't have any yeast strains, we don't have any pathogenic bacteria, that is just ridiculous, because we always have those strains in our body. It's actually normal to have those strains within our body. It's just when we create an environment for those particular pathogenic bacteria, mold, fungus, yeast, for them to proliferate, so therefore to grow in numbers, then a problem occurs, because they take over the majority of your flora in your system, in your gut. So if we can look at the gut as being like a government, okay, there's so many seats in that government, and we want to make sure that a majority of those seats, okay, who own or control that government, are in the friendly bacteria category, not the pathogenic one. Okay, and we can do that by a number of lifestyle choices, right? So anyway, getting back to the whole idea of Candida is the fact that we need to focus on the fermentation thing. Now, fermented foods, okay, as I say, can help with replenishing your gut flora. But what about if there's a fermentation process within the body that is occurring from sugar, occurring and growing the numbers of the bad pathogenic bacteria, the bad yeast strains, the mold, the fungus, all these sorts of things, parasites, and creating a flora environment that is more compatible to them compared to our friendly bacteria? That's when we have a problem. So there's so much emphasis on fermentation of fermented foods and trying to replenish your flora. What about foods that are not compatible with the body? They're sitting in there in the body, creating a process of fermentation in the body, and white sugar is a big one of that. So it's a little bit more complicated than just cutting sugar out of your diet. Okay, there will still remain things stuck in your body that will kind of putrefy and create a fermentation process that really is a magnet for all those pathogenic bacteria and all the things you don't want in your system. That's going to make you feel sick, right? So how do we go about this? Now we need to clear out that fermentation first, okay? And what I'm finding here at Truly Holistic with people, I had someone today with Candida, okay, and yeast infections, and women suffer that within the reproductive system, getting regular UTIs and those sorts of things as well. Is that we need to remove the cause of the problem, and the cause of the problem is fermentation, okay? So here we just make the intent to find out where that fermentation is, that process is occurring, just to remove it, fermentation false, okay? And then we can go ahead, okay, and then start removing the mold, the fungus, the candida. And what I'm finding is not only candida, usually the other culprits will be there, mold, fungus, yeast, or accumulation of it. Now another thing, what fermentation creates is accumulation or excess carbon dioxide, okay? Now we carbonate beverages, right? But that whole idea comes from when we fermented everything, okay? Fermenting like coconut kefir, you put the strain in there, and all of a sudden what happens is the sweetness within the coconut water, which is the sugar, those strains of colonies which are friendly for your body all of a sudden eat those sugars up, and the byproduct is they create carbon dioxide, and that's why you get the fizz sensation in those drinks. Now what happens with any form of fermentation in the body, okay, and you got to understand also the manner of what how beer is created is a fermentation process of yeasts, right, and sugar. So if you are vulnerable to things sitting in your body and they're fermenting along, beer will not work for you, okay? You actually get really sick, okay? And I've noticed this in me in the past. It was never good for drinking beer, and I know now why. It mimics the process of what can happen of accumulation of fermentation within the body, and all of a sudden you clean your house out, which is your body, of this fermentation, and all of a sudden you can start having things like that and you won't react to them as badly. So what we also do is remove the excess carbon dioxide and replenish it with oxygen, okay? Because again, we work with duality and we work with polarity, and the polarity to carbon dioxide is oxygen, right? So you'll find that you have a deficiency of oxygen in that area and an excess of carbon dioxide, and we just change that. And all of a sudden people will start to feel a lot better. So I thought I'd share this video because I know there's a lot of people suffering with Candida out there, fungus, overgrowths of yeast and those sorts of things. And I see so much information about just overconsumption of sugar that obviously creates an environment for these strains to be created, and to overwhelm the system, your body. But looking at things on a different way, that it's not necessarily the sugar, it's the non-compatible food substance, whether it's a sugar or a different form of carbohydrate or any other format. It might not even be a carbohydrate, but something that's sitting there creates putrefaction and then allows a fermentation process to just create and proliferate bad pathogenic bacteria, yeast, mold, fungus, and all these sorts of things. We need to focus on that being the cause of it, and you'll get a much better result. So if you have any issues with Candida out there, over accumulation of mold, fungus, parasites, and all these things, and yeast overgrowth, we'll book an appointment at trulyholistic.net and we can really help you, and also I can give you some nutritional advice to follow on with the clearings that we do, and you'll get a much better result. It won't be a hit and miss thing. And I know a lot of people that use a lot of alternative therapies, natural therapies to try and remove it. They just keep getting hit all the time with these problems, and it comes down to fermentation. That is the cause of it. So here, we're not about just removing the symptoms, we're about removing the cause of your problem. So if you have those issues, book an appointment with me and we can sort it out for you. Thanks.